All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Smacktalk Wrestling Podcast, episode 8. It is our 2-month anniversary. Congratulations, gentlemen.
2 months already.
2 months already. 2 months of doing this show, of listening to us argue and smack talk. Anyway, so Angel, how are you doing today, sir?
Great. Feeling good. Glad to be here. How are you?
Great. Gonzo, how are you doing today?
I ignited the Infinity Gauntlet behind me, for those that you can see it. So I'm going to try to absorb all of its gamma radiation right now for a good show.
Okay, that's great. Are you feeling good? Like, you don't have any distractions going on? Anything you want to talk about before we start the show, considering you started off hot last week?
I'll save it for a little bit later in the show. So
Okay, beautiful, because I do. Kevin Owens stunner kickouts are as follows: versus Solo Sikoa, versus Bobby Lashley twice, versus Roman Reigns 4 times, versus Seth Rollins, versus Edge, versus Drew McIntyre. All those leading to kickouts, and half of those leading to losses. Furthermore, 37, you heard that correctly, 37 wrestlers have used the stunner since Austin's departure of the WWE. That is in WWE alone. All right. And of those 37 wrestlers, how many kicked out, you say? Well, I'm just going to have to send you a YouTube video because there's too many to count. And lastly, why does Cody Rhodes use the pedigree, gentlemen? I don't know. Because Goldust used it first. And I'm done. So, welcome once again to the Smacktalk podcast. I'm sure David has nothing else he'd like to say because he likes to talk that gaga. But here we go. We have a very packed show today. Here, but locked in MLB. Got you. Thank you, Derek. So we have a very packed show today. So let's start off with one of the hottest stories: the Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre promo. So McIntyre, once again, his savagery just continues to dominate life. States that CM Punk owes him a damn thank you card for keeping him relevant. This guy's gold, and he is just speaking truth when it comes to CM Punk. But Gonzo, finally, their match has received a promo that is not really 100% focused on the Bloodline. They have confirmed that Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline is night 1 main event, as we predicted months ago. And their match would most likely, I would assume you would put it as night 2, to start, because the main event is Cody. So what do you guys think about the promo that we finally got that is finally getting some eyes on their match as opposed to the whole Bloodline stuff, guys? What do you guys think? Angel, we'll start with you.
Great. Finally, I guess, in the words of The Rock. Yeah, I mean, they can't just ignore this title. I mean, it's not right. They got to show support to it and actually promote this fight because it matters. It matters to the company. It matters to Drew McIntyre and people that will hold it in the future. So you don't want something to have no value just because The Rock and Roman Reigns are not involved with it, So I'm glad they're promoting it. They need to do more of it. As far as when it's scheduled for, this whole WrestleMania schedule is going to be wonky because the Bloodline dominates it as it's dominated.
Just like last year, it is revolving around the Bloodline. So we know what night 1 main event is. We know what night 2 main event is. And it'll be interesting to see where they put the Usos. I mean, I doubt they would open night 1 with that. I feel like at that point you have to put Rhea Ripley or one of the women's title matches, world title matches in that one. But if you put Uso versus Uso to start it, I mean, that's just another like, hey, all we care about is the Bloodline, and you guys are all just our fill-ins, Gonzo, what do you think about
4.0?
Yeah, exactly.
Seth Rollins is the bad guy in this, and Drew McIntyre is the face. If you really stop and think about it, you've seen the heel Rollins versus the face where literally you have heel tactics being done to provoke McIntyre in this confrontation that we got on Raw. I also listened to a 20 to 22 minute interview that McIntyre had done earlier this week that had nothing to do with the WWE representative. It was someone's own personal podcast. And so it was pretty good. I'll have to send it to you guys a little bit later. But ultimately, with McIntyre, the way that he's being portrayed, he's trying to elevate and bring the title back to where this is the focus. This is the most important thing. Stop wasting your energy and your focus on things that don't involve you. And so to make any type of relevancy, yeah, I mean, McIntyre continues to drive that. So it's pretty interesting. You've got an interesting dynamic here between Rollins and then McIntyre, whether you see them as one being both heels or one again being a face, and who knows. But so far, it's made some good television.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm just appreciative that they finally gave their promos, and fucking, I'm sorry to swear, but Seth really went at Drew, telling him. I think the biggest one that really got me was he explains why he hasn't been giving Drew McIntyre the attention, stating that he's the least part of his worries, and that just had to be a slap in the face to Drew McIntyre, who he has been coming out talking about he wants to make this title relevant, how it's not getting the attention that has to do. And Seth explains, like, why should I be worried, Drew? What have you given me the reasons as to be worried about this? I thought that was absolute savage. And the work, even though this championship match has kind of been on the back burn, Seth Rollins has been playing it so well and finally coming in and, you know, with the whole promo with last week with The Rock and now this week with Drew McIntyre, I feel like Seth, even though he's not my favorite guy, I know you guys expressed he's not your favorite guy. He has been on fire, in my opinion, just with these promos alone. And of course, Drew McIntyre, we all know how savage he's been, and he's been on fire as well. So I truly can't wait for this match at WrestleMania, even though it has not been promoted to the level of the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes and the tag match and everything that's going on. This is probably right up there for me, which is kind of weird for me because, like I said a few months ago, I could have gave a crap about Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins was not my favorite guy. And this is one of the matches that I really want to see. Another one that he has is, you know, Drew McIntyre before he turned heel, you know, he was battling the Bloodline. He got screwed at Clash of the Castle in that championship match when Solo Sikoa got called up. And now Seth's out here accusing him of being an honorary Uce, you know? Just embracing, you know, all the tactics that have been happening, the interference matches, all that stuff. It's just been great, and it's pretty much been my favorite. Drew McIntyre. Every time he comes out, I'm just like glued to the TV. I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm not texting. I'm not scrolling TikTok or anything like that. It's like I gotta listen to what this guy's got to say. So, right. Is there anything you guys want to add on the Seth and Drew McIntyre aspect of things?
Did you say when the match was, or we were just talking about what they could set the match? We don't know which day yet, right?
No, it is official. So Seth officially confirmed that night one's main event is the tag match.
No, I know that already. I'm talking about the title match.
Oh no, the title match has to open night 2. It has to. They already said that he's going to do it night. He said they are doing it night 2. It's just where on the card is going to be night 2, but it's got to be opening because you just have to, because like Angel's been saying for weeks that Seth's got 3 matches, so he's going to be in that main event, you know. So what were you going to say?
I was wondering, like, if he loses the tag team match, loses the title match, will he be there for Cody's support during the Bloodline match?
That's a great question. Gonzo, what do you think about that one? That's a great question.
The Avengers have to assemble. I'll leave it at that.
Even with all his L's, he might blame Cody why he loses his title.
The Avengers have to assemble.
So I'm gonna skip ahead for a second. I know it's lower. It's in our quote unquote main event. You know, anything that has to do with the Bloodline is usually in our main event right now. But Cody Rhodes did a promo with Michael Cole. So just because Angel asked this question, I'm going to say it. So basically, Cole is asking why he even accepted the match and state that Seth could have his own agendas, you know, and like he's always just looking out for himself. So maybe if they were rivals at one point, they were rivals at one point. Maybe if he does lose or something like that, then maybe all the Avengers don't assemble, you know, and you know, Seth just does his own thing. So he just says F you to Cody, and it is what it is. I lost my title because I was focused on you and not myself. So, but who knows? I don't think so. I think the Avengers are going to assemble just because Cody needs it, especially if they lose and it becomes Bloodline rules, because then it's going to be Cody versus the entire Bloodline by himself, possibly Goldust returning, and That's it.
Yeah, he's taking an L if he doesn't have Seth. That's why I'm saying if we see 2 L's at the tag team match and the World Heavyweight Championship match, it's not going to look good for Cody finishing his story. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I do believe that Drew McIntyre has to win that championship. It's the hottest anybody has been that could take the momentum off Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has almost had it for a year. So I think now it is time. So I think he's definitely taking an L, and the whole point, that narrative is going to be because he wasn't focused on Drew. So, Gonzo, you have anything you want to add?
Paying respect to Akira Toriyama, it's like Goku and Frieza coming together in order to do battle in the Power of Tournament against Jiren. So, for anyone who's watching right now, you all know exactly what I'm referring to with this.
Or it could be like Vegeta and Goku against Majin Buu, and he takes the M.
Yo, that's the best saga of all time. I'm just saying, you can fight.
You don't know, Gonzo. Could go either way, buddy.
Tournament of Power. That's where we're at. Paying respect again to Akira Toriyama with that.
That's a lot of DBZ references. Here we go. That's right, Muffin Man. All right. Moving on, unless you guys want to say one more thing about Seth and them.
Outside of Avengers Assemble, I'm good.
All right, cool. So speaking of another title that has not really been into the forefront, let's talk a little Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, who has a lot of similarities in their story to Seth and to Seth and Drew, not really being promoted. Why? Because Becky is not focused on Ripley and is just focused on fighting Nia Jax. But this week, Ripley really called her out. Ripley says that she needs to focus on her, that she needs to stop accepting all these matches. And yet she turns around and accepts a last man standing match against Nia Jax this Monday. What do you guys think of this rivalry, or lack thereof, in my opinion, and the last man standing match that we're getting on Monday? Gonzo?
My wife said it perfectly. She said, why? She's been watching, background noise, little here, little there, but she's been following storyline wise. And that was all she said. She's like, why? She's like, I don't understand. You have Rhea Ripley that's doing nothing and literally is Goku in the rejuvenation chamber, just powering up. And then you have Becky over here fighting everything that walks, wasting her energy, possibly causing injury to herself, or possibly could get injured. So by the time she gets to WrestleMania, it's going to be this person that is worn down, beaten, bruised, battered, and then you're going against someone that essentially, is ready to go. But then...
Question. You made an interesting point, and I'm glad you brought this point up because I was going to say this anyway. So you said risking injury and possibly not making it to WrestleMania. What if that's the plan? Because Nia Jax, since losing, has been vowing that she's not going to let Becky Lynch make it to WrestleMania. What if this is a plan to A, really eliminate Becky Lynch from WrestleMania, or B, have one of those little heroic efforts where she does get hurt and then Nia Jax is the one taking, Rhea Ripley on at WrestleMania, but then all of a sudden, no, it's going to be a triple threat the day of because now Becky is being cleared last second. Like different scenarios like that.
I could see no triple threat but all of a sudden Becky's hurt and she's this very weak and feeble person going against, again, mommy at her full maximum power, but then somehow the beaten hero is able to overcome,
she
the
over
perfect
9,000.
Possibly, right? Break in scouters and everything.
I'm wearing Cell and Frieza. Like, we're just going full Akira Toriyama tonight, huh?
I didn't even notice that you had those on. But how many times has that story been told, right? Where the hero is beaten, bruised up, and ultimately you're going against this larger than life figure that technically has been rested, or that actually could possibly be even the better performer inside the ring, right? It just adds a little bit more flavor to the story.
I mean, I don't mind the story because you got to remember everything is always repurposed no matter what. You're always going to get the hero story. You're always going to get the heels, how they win with the same heel tactics of interference and brass knuckles and low blow. Everything's always repurposed. I don't mind the story so much. I just mind that you have not one but two major championships that have kind of been pushed to the back burner, especially with how hot Mommy is. She is not attractiveness, guys. We're talking about hot, just in general, like
I got you.
her story. All right,
Norris Cole, white hot, got it.
all right, yes, she's North Pole white hot.
Throwback to 2013 Miami Heat.
With how hot she is right now, and it's like she's kind of taking a Roman Reigns role where she barely comes out. She doesn't even come out with her damn faction. She's essentially the leader of the Judgment Day. She does not come out with them. Before, she used to be in Mysterio's corner. She's there. She comes out with them. Before, she would come out with the rest of the Judgment Day and tag matches, whatever. She don't even come out. She does what she wants whenever the hell she wants. But like I said, I don't mind the story. Go on. What were you saying, Angel? You mean what?
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I don't know if she's out doing promotional stuff for WWE.
She's there, bro, backstage. She doesn't come out.
But
she's on the episode.
Did she get hurt? Like, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Going back to the whole Nia Jax thing, I don't know what their purpose is of, like, I guess WWE's taking the stance on, like, you have to earn your way into WrestleMania. That's like the whole theme right now, except if you're the Bloodline. You get automatic passes. Besides them, everyone else has to go into a tournament. Everybody else has to go through a gauntlet. And it seems like for this title, you see Bayley also, she's getting her ass kicked every week, but she's got it locked in, but she's still getting her ass kicked every week. But this title with Rhea, it's like, this is the only way they can see someone earning their spot. I mean, but she won, the chamber, like, she earned it already, but I don't know, for whatever reason, they want to keep pushing this. Every week you got to earn your spot in WrestleMania. Someone's holding it against you. There's people trying to take that spot from you, but I guess that's just WrestleMania season, and that's the problem I have with this time period. And, like, from Royal Rumble to Elimination Chamber to WrestleMania, this time period right here is just so tough to book because everyone's already set. You can't really have anything crazy happen unless it's like Money in the Bank or something. But I don't know. There's not a lot of options for them.
Well, just a quick comment before Mark finishes it out. Then is the way that I look at it is if I was a casual fan and I'm tuning in as it's getting closer to WWE WrestleMania, biggest event of the year, right? You've got The Rock promoting it in various ways, drawing in new individuals, or just, we tell, I don't know, Bob and whoever, hey, come watch WrestleMania with us, or things leading into it, and they aren't really that big of fans. You're going to have Becky Lynch, and you see promos of her going against this towering figure in Rhea Ripley, right? There's a gigantic size difference when you're just looking at the two. And so if you have Becky Lynch then go against Nia Jax, who is a very large individual, right, competitor-wise, technically speaking, just from, again, just a casual fan, how is this very tiny woman supposed to beat this very large individual, right? To do certain move sets and to make that actually, feel real. So these matches potentially are not necessarily just for the diehard fans that are watching this thing night in, week out, but potentially, again, for the casual fan to buy a little bit more into the reality that Becky Lynch actually, if she's taking on this juggernaut here, knocking her off her pedestal, going into WrestleMania to take on another juggernaut, it makes it potentially a little bit more believable.
I mean, you have a point there,
Yeah.
But I will say this. If it somehow becomes a triple threat match, Becky Lynch is walking away with the title. That's the only way she can really pull off a win against Rhea, is like Nia beating the shit out of Rhea and like her pulling it off at the end, last woman standing type of vibe.
So do you think Becky, real quick, do you think Becky Lynch is like that far beneath Rhea Ripley?
No, I could see her.
They've been dubbed the Stone Cold and the Rock of this generation for the women.
No, yeah, I see that. I'm saying if there's a triple threat match, like, I think that's how you sell it more as, like, for your audience. If you're WWE, like, you're able to sell it more that she pulls off this win with a triple threat match with Nia being involved, where Nia, you saw what she did to Rhea at a chamber. Like, Rhea got her ass kicked most of that match. She pulled off the win at the end, like, we thought she would, but she was getting manhandled, as So I don't know. I just feel like it's a higher chance of Becky walking out with the title. 1-on-1, I still have Rhea though. Like I'm still pulling Rhea out of that match with the title.
I agree. I think Rhea does come out as a champion too. But like I said, two things I have a problem. No, one thing I really have a problem with is that they have been dubbed, like I said, The Rock versus Stone Cold of the women of this generation, and it's supposed to be a dream match, and it has not been billed like that by any sense. And it was supposed to be billed like that, and it has not, and that's my problem.
Number two, like 2 promos together?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. And number 2, what I do like though. They need to chill out on all that. What I do like though is someone who David has been liking with Nia Jax. I kind of like what they've been doing with her. She's so relentless to get into this match and vowing that Becky Lynch doesn't get into this match. I kind of hope Nia Jax wins tomorrow night and knocks her out of Mania, just because that story has been more entertaining than The Rock versus Stone Cold, Rhea Ripley, and Becky Lynch, because of her quest to get into the main event scene in the WrestleMania. So that's something I actually would not be mad about. Triple threat, if it happens, I get why they would do it. I don't know if I would do it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't hate it. I just hate the fact how it's been, promoted so far.
Are you guys cool? Yeah. Are you guys cool with matches superseding PLE event results, like Chamber or Royal Rumble? Like that's basically what's happening here with Becky. You're kind of opening up a can of worms where people could just be like, I'm challenging you for your shot, your number 1 contender spot, I guess.
As long as yes, I do not like that. As long as they don't come out and flat out say, hey, tomorrow night's, like, for example, this has not been happening, just for example, tomorrow night's last man standings for the WrestleMania spot. If that happens, then yeah, I'd be super pissed. But if she kayfabe injures her and kicks her out of the match, then I'm down. But I'm not for I mean, we've seen battles for the Money in the Bank briefcase. I don't like that shit either. Like, no, it's like, hey, we changed our mind. We're gonna make you lose this. I don't like that.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. I was just curious with you guys.
Yeah.
What about you, Gons?
I think Mark said it good, because ultimately, to be able to build it into the story, I'm all for that. And to be honest with you, I'm more invested in, again, Nia Jax and her story as to how it's been built. Creative has done a wonderful time, just, again, basically repackaging Nia. And so Becky, it's kind of flat for me right now, to be truthful with you. I don't want to sound overly critical with it, but for some strange reason, I'm more invested in, again, Nia Jax and Mommy. However,
me too.
The talent gap, though, for an actual quality wrestling match, that's where Rhea Ripley is light years ahead of Nia Jax, and that's the biggest problem. Right?
Sorry to interject. Right, that was perfect what you just said, though. But that's the reason why I would see it turning into a triple threat if Nia Jax injures tomorrow, just because of that statement alone. But go on.
Yeah, and that's all I was going to finish it with. Because, again, the story is there as far as, again, making it believable and entertaining. But when it comes to performing on the grandest stage in prime time like that, that's where Nia, unfortunately, is limited to what she can then do. Because I feel like Rhea, when she was going at it in Perth, Rhea had to dumb down what she does to a point where it had to then carry Nia for a majority of that match. And so I don't know if people really want to be succumbed to that again, but we'll see.
Riverdog states that this is 100% going to be a triple threat. Interesting. It could. I mean, it's leading to it. I mean, they have not dropped that story of Nia Jax's relentlessness to get back into that title picture. So maybe
Fatal 4-way. Liv Morgan somehow gets her opportunity to be thrown in there.
Stop. No, that's too much.
We're not doing any Liv Morgan BS tonight.
Well, I figured that this would be a perfect transition into the Intercontinental, and then also the tag team title is where we're going right now.
No.
Look at it. Hell no, stop. We got
I figured this would be a wonderful transition point for the Intercontinental / going into the tag championships. What do you think?
Next. So here's the actual transition. All right, guys, we're gonna move on to our next topic, the Intercontinental #1 Contenders Gauntlet match. Angel, you had some things while we were talking this week about this match. Let's start with you. How did you feel about this gauntlet match? And the winner was Sami Zayn, by the way, guys. So Sami Zayn won the gauntlet. He ran the gauntlet. How do you guys feel about this match? Angel, you can start first.
One, I called Sami Zayn would win last week.
Good call.
You guys did not.
That's right. Because he shouldn't have won.
Neither one of you.
Because he shouldn't have won.
But I saw it coming. It's not who I wanted to win, but I saw it coming.
Okay.
The match itself, it was entertaining. I found it fun to watch. I thought the wrestlers performed well, all of them. I really didn't see anyone lack behind another. The match itself, or the actual how it is broken down, I'm not a super fan of it. I'd rather see maybe more of I don't know, battle royal type situation, something else. The gauntlet system is kind of like a mini Royal Rumble, but I don't know.
One-on-one. One-on-one.
One Royal Rumble, right? So I guess
Old
it's
school
kind of
Mortal
cool.
Kombat.
Right.
Exactly.
It's kind of cool.
I'm just waiting for them to put the blocks,
Right, exactly. But the last guy comes out fresh, Sammy got beat to hell. He got put in the ankle lock 73 times.
He got smashed by Bronson too.
Yeah, he got smashed. Him winning that match was kind of too far, especially the shit he went through in that match. But it was still fun, and it was cool to see two baby faces, at the end, hug it out and see them both fighting for a spot like that. And they pulled out that whole story with Sammy. I guess he was following Ramadan, so supposedly he wasn't drinking or eating all day. Still pulled off that win. It was an interesting match. Not my favorite type of style of match, but I think they performed it well. I called that he would win because of the way that he was getting his promoting done in the previous weeks, especially about titles specifically. I don't think he's going to be Gunther, though, so he's probably just going to get bodied.
Gonzo?
He looked like Hulk Hogan towards the end of that whole thing, especially with Bronson, smashing him, 500 pounds coming flying off the top rope. So, he looked invincible. Now, as far as Chad Gable in his Chaos Theory or whatever that move is called, that move is he needs something else. That was very underwhelming for me to see.
David hates everyone's finishes.
No,
I don't know what finisher this guy likes. I really don't.
The fact that he was standing there forever with that ankle lock, I was literally screaming for him to just literally lock it up, go down to the ground like Kurt Angle used to do back in the day, and he never did that. But the
Isn't
Chaos
it just
Theory,
a German pin? Is it?
Yeah,
is it
it's a super slow. I'm about to blow up my back. Super pin, and again, Sami Zayn is not the biggest individual in the world.
Bodies him from the freaking ground.
It's very impressive
all the way
when he
up,
does
bro.
it to gigantic people. Okay, that's great, but come on, you're really struggling with Sami Zayn.
It was a grueling match.
It's not like he was in there from the start. It'd be more believable if he was in there from the start. David thinks the stunner is trash. Okay, so. Even though I pushed the stunner to go over in my push Barry Fire, but horrible.
Here's my thought. Here's my quick thoughts on the gauntlet match. I'm not gonna spend too much time in it. I do like the fact that Sami Zayn win. I didn't predict that to happen because I just didn't think they would do it. But prior to his long journey against the Bloodline and the Bloodline involvement, he was an Intercontinental Champion that really never got his rematch of the Intercontinental Championship. So it's kind of like a long-term storytelling type deal for him to get back into that picture. But I really truly thought there was going to be some type of Judgment Day. I didn't think that JD was going to win, but I thought he would have a better showing than getting eliminated first. So, I thought that was kind of questionable as far as booking.
That dude is a jobber.
Oh, big time. Big time. All he is, he will always and forever be known as Finn Balor's cousin. That's it. But I do want to ask you real quick before I get to my question. I do not like gauntlet matches. I thought the gauntlet match was decent for what it was, but I'm 1,000,000% behind Angel, and I'd just rather have them all in the ring, do a traditional battle royal, whether it be an over-the-top challenge type deal, like a little mini Royal Rumble, or even an elimination type deal, within the ring, pinfalls or submissions, whatever. But I don't like gauntlet matches.
Table match. Go through a table, you're out.
I never been a fan. Running the gauntlet's kind of weird. They do it with tag teams all the time too. I don't like it. I'd rather have them all in there having a fair shot, because at that point it's like, okay, well, 9 times out of 10, obviously it's not in this case scenario, but 9 times out of 10, the freshest person that comes out of number 6 probably will get the win because you got this guy running the gauntlet and he just comes out and it's like a Royal Rumble type deal. But I digress. But my question is, with the whole Judgment Day involvement lately with Imperium, that includes, the tag team as well as Gunther, what are the chances Damian Priest, who is kind of seemingly getting lost in the shuffle with his briefcase, cashes in on Gunther at WrestleMania?
When is Money in the Bank gonna happen?
It happens after. I'll call like 2 or 3 months afterwards. It's like right before like summer truly starts, if I am not mistaken.
So the chances are 100%.
Damian Priest needs, I think, another 30-something days to be the longest reigning briefcase holder, because the current one is Carmella at this time.
Is that true? Dolph Ziggler was long as hell.
Carmella is the longest one, technically, so another 30-ish days, or maybe 25 now, until Priest technically would be the longest to have the briefcase, but then, of course, not cash it in, right? So I could easily see Priest attempting to cash in. Why not?
Attempting to cash in on who, though? Are we talking Gunther still, or are we talking on... I don't think he cashes on the Cody Rhodes moment. Are we talking either Gunther or the World Heavyweight Championship?
I could see Gunther. I mean, because it's really going to depend as to what day that match is going to take place, because we're going to transition into this here in a second with that. What's that say? Nope.
We agree.
I mean, we agree, but we're talking about what's actually going to happen. Is what we're talking about.
River Dog, we 100% agree, but with the storytelling, he has zero indication of any type of World Heavyweight Championship cash in. Not even on an NXT World Heavyweight Championship, which that also has happened before. Like nothing.
It would be cool if you cash in on McIntyre or Seth. Like that would make a crazy dynamic. Like nobody saw it coming, but WWE doesn't really work that way often. So I don't see him feuding with Imperium and then cashing in on Seth's belt. And then the Bloodline, he just doesn't even fit. There's like a million people involved with that belt. Like we don't need Damien involved with that too. That'd be wild. So
comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I mean, we all love the comes out of nowhere, but
right, that's the whole point of the briefcase, right? Like, holy smokes, he's out of nowhere. Like, he should cash in against Seth and McIntyre, to be honest. But yeah, I don't see it.
I mean, personally, I mean, I'm probably gonna get a lot of shit right now, but personally, I would just love for Cody to win and Damian Priest cash in on Cody, because he's had he's had his problems with Judgment Day. So I mean, basically, like, you know how they always put that little thing in the bottom right corner, like copyright 2024 right. WWE, whatever. Like we wait, like Cody's celebrating, has this whole thing. Like we're about to close out the show, and then all of a sudden the Judgment Day song hits. I would love to see that.
But here's the thing.
Now that you mentioned that, hold on. Didn't Dusty Rhodes have the title and they took it from him right away? Isn't that what happened to him?
I'd have to go
back and check.
We'd have to fact check. If one of the elders are watching, let us know.
I think there's a scenario where Dusty Rhodes gets the belt and they snatch it right back from him somehow. I forgot. I don't know the details. I'd have to look it up. But I'm pretty sure, like, what you're saying would be like mimicking what happened to his father. So that's an idea. Just saying.
I feel like there's two scenarios. I don't want to harp too much time on this. We're already 30 minutes in, but I feel like one, if you're gonna have him do a failed cash in, I would have him just cash in on Cody and just let Cody, ruin it, because at least he went for the top of the top, and you expect it. You know what I mean? That's if you're gonna. That's if you're gonna have him fail.
Fail out. Yeah.
If you're gonna do the Austin Theory route and cash in on a mid card belt and have him lose, that's really bad. So at least if I'm going to fail, I failed on cashing in on Cody Rhodes, who's on an all-time high right now. Right. The Avengers assembled, the whole nine, you know what I mean? Right. That's just what I would do. You guys have any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I think Gonzo wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah,
my comment was going to be this, is that, and I've been saying this for several weeks now, is that the Intercontinental title, there is no clear-cut individual that is going to rival Gunther, and I have a problem with that. The tag team championships, there is no clear-cut tag team that rivals the Judgment Day. And yet here we have a wonderful example of this. You have a gauntlet match to somehow pick this defender, or excuse me, this individual that's going to go against Gunther. And of course, what happened here on Raw? like I said, you don't have a tag team that's been identified as a legitimate threat. So what did they just do? They threw this ridiculous ladder match TLC wannabe together with the 6 individual or the 6 teams all together. I really would have enjoyed, again, a build up. Here's the solidified individual. We're building towards this. Here's the significance. I want the story behind it. So
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. So there's number one contender matches everywhere. It happens all the time. That's how you book a new feud. That's how you book a new challenger. You have a lot of story that has been consumed with the Bloodline this year. There's only so many stories that you could tell.
Gonzo, are you saying how late in the game they're doing it because WrestleMania is so close? Is that where you're kind of? They should have done this earlier in the year or earlier in the season.
I don't even know when the appropriate time would have been. I guess my issue is, like I said, I've been saying this for a couple weeks now, is that we're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. 2 weeks, not 4 weeks, not 5, not 6.
Right. So it's the timing that you have a bigger problem.
Bro, we just found out on NXT who Ilya Dragunov's opponent was last week. I mean, that happens all the time. I'm not saying that you're wrong.
But for WrestleMania,
I Stand and delivers WrestleMania for NXT. It's the same thing.
No, I know. But I kind of see what Gonzo's saying. Like,
I understand what he's saying.
Biggest
too.
Show of the year. Do you want to be?
Not every match is gonna have like all these buildups. I mean, you're gonna have number one contender matches. You still have a couple weeks to do it, and I'm not mad at a ladder match for the tag team championships, especially when my favorite match of all time is TLC number 1. So I mean, I don't hate that at all, but I do understand your story-wise aspect of things. And I'm not knocking on it. I just don't 100% agree with it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Anything else you guys want to say, or?
No, I'm good on that.
All right, let's take a little break. Let's play a little game here. Our favorite game, everyone's favorite game. Everyone seemed to really like it. We appreciate you guys with these comments. We're going to play some Push, Bury, Fire, where we either push apparently moves, factions, solo wrestlers,
belts.
We push, Bury, Fire everything here. And before we get into our personal Push, Bury, Fires for each other, we have another request this week.
Love the request. Keep them coming, guys.
The request, keep them coming. Comment, let us know, message us privately, whatever you guys want to do. We will air them for you 100%. As long as we haven't done them before, we will do it. So this one, we have never done it before. So we are going to push, Bury, Fire PLEs, premium live events. So it's going to be SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and Crown Jewel. That is from Derek the Guy. Derek, thank you.
Shout out my guy.
Shout out to Derek the Guy. He's everyone's guy. He's just a guy that likes guys. So yeah, Derek the Guy, we appreciate you. Keep it coming. Once again, guys, if you guys want to do a Push, Bury, Fire, we want to hear it. You let us know. We will do it for you. This is a great Push, Bury, Fire, says the Muffin Man. So you're getting some fans here, Derek. Make sure you guys go follow our boy Derek on the Twitch, currently streaming, I believe, MLB The Show, right?
Yeah,
so,
Derek the Guy on Twitch. Yep.
All right, Derek the Guy on Twitch. All right, so once again, guys, our Push, Bury, Fire, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and Crown Jewel. Angel, we will start with you.
Oh, snap. I didn't know you were going to start with me. Okay. I've been looking at this for a minute. Crown Jewel is just too new for me. I'm gonna have to fire Crown Jewel. It's not that it's a bad pay-per-view. It's just too new for me compared to the other two. It's a good pay-per-view, but it just doesn't have the history that the other two have. SummerSlam and Royal Rumble are one of the big four, right? So those are just huge, huge events. I think all-time SummerSlam has just been historic. Has had many great matches. We went to SummerSlam 2 years ago. We had a great time. I have always loved SummerSlam. It's a great moment during the year when you get to, summertime, and SummerSlam is just a great event. Just one of the top four, like I said. But the Royal Rumble might be the greatest invention in wrestling history. And I would have to push the Royal Rumble, bury SummerSlam, and fire Crown Jewel, because the Royal Rumble is it might be the greatest event that wrestling's ever created. So that's mine.
All right. Gonzo?
I'm actually going to fire SummerSlam. We're going to get rid of SummerSlam. I'm going to bury Crown Jewel. I like how Crown Jewel is being created in such a way where there are significant occurrences, matches, and you're also reaching a different type of audience now that this is being pushed worldwide. So the significance behind it is getting a lot bigger. And so it was tough between the two, between SummerSlam and Crown Jewel for me. But here in recent history, I think there's been more meaningful things that potentially have occurred on Crown Jewel than there has been on SummerSlam. At least that's without me immediately fact checking this, but there's been a lot more. Oh, wait a second. Goldberg versus Undertaker. Oh, wait a second. There's Roman Reigns now versus Logan Paul. There's these ridiculous matches that are generating a lot of interest, and a lot of that from creative in order to get the eyes overseas a little bit more invested. And then, of course, the last is I'm going to push to the moon Royal Rumble. Even now, that's my favorite pay-per-view. The whole match dynamic. I always get excited because I wonder who then is going to come out at what number. I do get excited for, again, bringing back legendary wrestlers, but then also the dynamic that number 1, number 3, number 30, who's coming in. So we've had a lot of amazing returns too throughout the years because of injuries or someone wasn't supposed to be in Royal Rumbles before. So yeah, I'm a little biased. So Royal Rumble is the one that I will push.
I think we're all a little biased on that one. So I'm going to fire. What's it called?
The Royal Rumble.
No, what's the stupid thing called? I don't even like it.
Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel.
Yeah, there you go. Crown Jewel. We are firing Crown Jewel because it's like non-canon wrestling events. Like it's
separate timeline. It's a separate.
No, seriously. The fact that Logan Paul had a title match against Roman Reigns was just because they needed a title fight and they needed someone that is globally recognized. That's number one. Number two, you had Braun Strowman win the world's biggest Royal Rumble match of 50 people for no reason. He's the Royal Rumble. He's the greatest Royal Rumble champion is what they dubbed him. No one cares. Probably didn't even remember that. All right. So that's what we're firing. We're going to bury, unfortunately, because we're going to push the Royal Rumble. I don't need to harp on what you guys just said. Growing up, it's the most iconic pay-per-view match that's not named WrestleMania. There's not really too much I'm going to get into. I mean, Ric Flair's, title defense in that's sick. I mean, so
iconic moments, so many. We go
too many iconic moments. I'm not even going to explain it. But the reason I'm going to bury SummerSlam is because number one, you guys took me to my first SummerSlam 2 years ago. That was amazing. And number two, my favorite match of all time. Any new fan that they come up, I always tell them to go watch the first ever TLC match of SummerSlam 2000 between the greatest tag teams of all time of our era, the Dudleys, Hardys, and the Jim Christian.
That's the greatest SummerSlam of all time.
So
2000.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Wonderful. That's a wonderful push, Barry Fire, PLE, another out of the box. Once again, Derek the Guy, we appreciate you. If you guys like game streaming, make sure you follow my boy AOK. And of course, Derek the Guy, who's probably breaking controllers for MLB The Show. All right. So Angel, push Barry Fire. What do you got for Gonzo tonight?
For Gonzo, I'm going to go. I have to go to Gonzo with this one because of your bias, Mark.
Okay.
Push Barry Fire. Entrances.
Ooh.
Batista.
Chris Jericho.
Team 3D. Y2J.
Y2J.
What kind of Y2J?
The Y2J. I mean,
the 2000s.
The countdown.
The countdown, yeah. The iconic Y2J. Y2J.
Man. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of Batista. I didn't watch wrestling during his era, but ultimately his whole Ultimate Warrior, right, hyping himself up.
Everyone, the fireworks are fire.
Yeah,
I mean, in comparison to the Millennium with the ball and it's coming through, the vortex, and then of course the
music.
Well, the Team 3D where you have, the bomb coming down and exploding up, and out come the Dudley Boys. Sick. I'm actually going to go with burying Y2J. As much as I loved and imitated the whole coming out, turning around, and I do like Team 3D as they came out, and it was the whole firework that would come striking down and exploding, and all of a sudden here come the Dudley Boys. And it was actually just how they presented themselves as they came out, because if you remember Bubba Ray Dudley, for the most part, he had that death glare that he
It
would
was
just come out.
stoic. It was stoic. You just come just like, where's
Right?
Mae
He
Young?
was. He didn't have any emotion to it, right? And I always enjoyed the glasses where he had the white tape in the middle,
Yeah,
and
the
so
tape.
I mean the guys were something special. But entrances wise, yeah, I'm gonna go with Team 3D.
So you're pushing 3D,
Yeah, I'm pushing Team 3D.
Okay.
and who you're bearing?
It was Y2J.
What?
Oh, he said Y2J. My fault.
Yeah, he buried
Yeah,
Y2J.
I didn't
Y2J.
hear that. Honorable mention.
Push Batista to the moon. His torture rack he does with the pyro before going to the ring is goated.
Okay. Riverdog says he walks alone. That's a Batista reference. Okay.
Got a lot of Batista lovers here.
Honorable mention.
Sean Merriman lights out on torture.
Oh
Rack.
my god! Wow.
Okay,
Sean
Angel,
Merriman,
go. What were you saying? What were you saying?
I'll say D'Lo Brown. Honorable mention.
Oh, him coming out snapping his head, almost
Dude,
breaking his neck.
Honorable mention. But sorry, go ahead,
Man.
continue. I just want to say D'Lo.
Angel was 1,000,000% right. I am super biased because not only are we biased on Y2J, we're biased on the Dudleys. And with that being said, even though as much as I love Batista's little firework entrance, we're gonna fire that guy because the Dudleys is my favorite tag team of all time. And just like how David, he hit it on the nose, that firework hits, and
So sick.
they walk out like Bubba Ray comes out, is like, I'm ready to fuck. So where is Mae Young? Like, I'm about to put her actually tape.
But the coolest part about that too,
You know,
like we didn't. I don't know how often. I don't know if any of us got to experience it, but if you were there in person, that shit just came out. You didn't even know it was coming.
Yeah.
Boom, go off music.
Chicago's
that was
finest,
so sick.
D'Lo Brown.
and of course, the greatest entrance, the greatest debut of all time will go to Chris Y2J Jericho. The countdown on the Rock.
Against the Rock. Yeah.
Don't even get me started. We'll be here for another 3 hours.
Yeah. Let's continue.
just
We'll
talk
talk about
about
Jay later, bro.
Amazing.
All right, go ahead, Gons.
No, that's fine. This one's then for Mark. So this is actually going to be coming from my guy Eric Plank. And I know we were supposed to have done our show yesterday, and this would have been great for 316, Dave. So we're going to carry it on over.
Okay.
Absolutely. So this is going to be a pushberry fire for Stunning Steve Austin, ECW Steve Austin, and the $1 Million Steve Austin. What version of Steve Austin essentially are you going to push, bury, and fire?
Okay, hold on. Where's my pen? Who am I doing?
Where's my pen? You've
Stunning
got
Steve Austin.
Stunning Steve Austin, ECW Steve Austin, and then the $1 Million Steve Austin.
ECW and $1 Million. Wow, not even the good Steve Austin. You're giving me the craps. I mean,
Yeah, man. Like I said, that's a shout out to Eric Plank on that one.
all right, we're gonna push Stunning Steve Austin because I believe he was a tag team champion as Stunning Steve Austin. I could be wrong in WCW.
Hollywood Blondes.
No idea.
Hollywood Blondes. I think he was tag team, so we'll push him.
$1 Million Man Austin.
The Ringmaster, right? That's the Ringmaster Austin.
Yeah, we're gonna fire the Ringmaster, and then just because I like ECW's concept, we'll just keep ECW Steve Austin. Because unlike David and Angel, I like me some death matches here and there. So I mean, fuck it, you know. But wow,
Why do I get thrown in that?
I don't know because
We're catching strays.
whatever. I mean, that was cool. I mean, that's something I did not expect. To be truthful with you guys, I mean, Stunning Steve Austin is my most knowledgeable one of Steve Austin. So that's why he's getting pushed, just because I know more than the other two. But yeah, so that was really cool. Who was that from? Plank?
That's from Eric Plank.
All right, well, thank you. Keep coming with the comments. All right, Angel, we're gonna go with you. We're gonna give you some factions. Add to our factions, okay? We're not gonna do the obvious ones. We're gonna go with the Heart Foundation. We're gonna go the Ministry of Darkness and the Nation of Domination.
Wow. Couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Ministry of Darkness. That's separate from Undertaker.
That's with the Undertaker. Ministry of Darkness.
That includes him. He's
that
part
includes
of it?
the Undertaker. Yes.
Okay. All right. And then the Nation of Domination, is that with The Rock or
With The
without
Rock.
With The Rock. Okay.
With The Rock getting ready to kick out Farouk.
All right. Wow. All right. That's pretty good because you saved it with the stars.
I saved it with the stars. Okay, that was pretty good regardless. Those are iconic ass factions. You kidding me?
I mean, they should domination without The Rock.
They had your boy D'Lo in there.
They got D'Lo Brown.
Yeah,
so.
they got D'Lo.
You just
Chicago's
talked him
finest.
out, bro. Like, come on.
I said
man.
his entrance. I mean,
Chicago's
He did it too.
finest.
He walked out. He's like, "We are the nation." He's like, you know.
so that makes him a goat. Okay. So, oh man, I have to push the Heart Foundation. I mean, they actually got things done as a tag team, as a faction, right? They had gold. They both were able to have great careers, long careers, well known. I think they're just the most iconic team there. And then the Hart family is just iconic, like, you know, a wrestling family. I think wrestling families are always going to get a little bit more appreciation or respect versus put together factions, depending on how great they were. But families are always pretty good. So we're going to push the Hart Foundation. Who we're going to bury, it's going to be tough. I see these two pretty close. I got to say Darkness. I mean, Ministry of Darkness. I just think of the Brood. I think of the music. I think of just the iconic sets they would have when we would watch Raw or whatever show they were on, and they'd come out, or the crazy stuff they would pull off, you know, especially with The Undertaker in that era. Like, it was just so cool to see. It was a storyline. That's the stuff I'm into. You guys know that. Like, I like the crazy stuff, the storylines, the crazy characters, the wild out of the ring stuff they pull off. The Ministry of Darkness was always about that, you know, the whole vampire thing. Like, you know, it was cool. So I'll definitely bury the Ministry of Darkness and then fire Nation of Domination.
Okay, Gonzo.
Cool.
Oh, for me, it's coming to me.
Yeah, might as well put your quick thoughts in it.
I was gonna push the Nation of Domination to the moon. I was gonna actually eliminate the Ministry of Darkness, and then I had the Hart Foundation on the Barry section.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I mean, because the Nation of Domination, Ron Simmons, he was the first ever black heavyweight champion to be promoted back in the day. And so you also had The Rock that comes from that to be able to then push also Ahmed Johnson. He was another big individual that was going to get a major push. Unfortunately, as we know, he wasn't as great as everyone thought he was. You also had The Godfather. He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he, for WWE?
I mean, he is, yeah.
As a pimp.
So, but I mean, but think about that for a second. That faction
They
in
throw
itself,
anybody in
though,
there, kind of, though. I'll say.
You've got D'Lo Brown,
as Vince McMahon's persona.
but still, I mean, you have Ron Simmons, WWE Hall of Famer, The Rock, WWE Hall of Famer, the Godfather, WWE Hall of Famer. I mean, right there, you've got significant star power
as
there.
Individuals, they're not in the Hall of Fame because of what they did together, though.
That's true. Remember that's a difference. That's why there's 2-time and 3-time Hall of Famers, bro. Faction.
Anyways, sorry.
You said quick hits, so that's why I gave
it's
it.
quick. That's why I'd stop in there.
No problem. You're good. Angel. Who do you got for me?
Reverse order.
All right, we're gonna go individuals separate from their tag team.
Okay.
We're gonna go Matt Hardy.
We did this already.
You did?
Yeah, before you weren't here on this episode.
Oh, dang! I missed it. My fault.
Okay, give me a backup. I'm sorry.
Okay, did you guys do the other one? Jeff, Bubba, and Radar Superstar. Did you do that one?
We could do it. No, we didn't do that one. That one's easy though. I got it.
Go ahead. My fault.
You're good. I will bury Bubba Ray because in WWE singles nothing. Only in the indies where he gets my attention as a single superstar. I'm going to bury Jeff Hardy. Even though that one's really hard for me, but I feel like if you put Jeff Hardy on any other promotion as a single star, he's still gonna get that star power no matter what, because of who he is, what he does, his daredevil antics. So he will definitely be a world champion without question on any other promotion, you know, in his prime, and assuming he's off the dope. And for pushing, the obvious is Edge. I believe he's the biggest single superstar out of all those tag teams. 100%. I mean, Radar Superstar, that gimmick was amazing. So yeah, that's what I would do. Gonzo, you want to add something real quick or no?
No, because I'm pushing Edge. And then actually, I like Bubba Ray Dudley more than Jeff Hardy in singles.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right, Gonzo, for you, your final push verifier of the evening, you are going to get moves once again. This time you are going to get a push verifier of aerial assaults, the frog splash, swanton bomb, and the shooting star press.
Do I get what kind of frog splash?
Just a frog splash.
Damn, I want this one.
You're gonna get it. I mean, it's just more directed to Dave. I'll give you your time. So push verifier, frog splash, swanton bomb, shooting star press.
So with this one, I am going to eliminate the frog splash. Had you given me a very specific frog splash, that would have made all the difference.
Just a frog splash.
Eddie Guerrero, then you have RVDs.
Anyone that used a frog splash in history, that's like me giving you the spear. 55 million people have used it.
They all have their twist to it. So no, we're gonna eliminate the frog splash, unfortunately.
Okay.
Swanton bomb, we're gonna bury that, and then I'm gonna push the shooting star press.
Push the shooting star press. Interesting.
Why the star press?
The level of difficulty in order to do that move is insane. And the amount of body control that you have to have, that is, again, it's pretty wild. I mean, because Brock Lesnar
do it.
Brock Lesnar was able to do it, and then he almost killed himself at WrestleMania. But, right, the shooting star press, to me, it also just looks insane. The ability to do that front flip and then be able to, again, not break your neck.
It's one of my favorites.
The Billy Kidman is the one that really put that on the map for me when I'd seen that in WCW. And so as a kid, I was like starstruck by it. So the Swanton, of course, got made legendary by Jeff Hardy jumping off things and putting people through it. So the frog splash, that's why I said it really depended as to what variation of it. So like RVD's leaping 100 yards away and then hitting you, and then it looked like he broke his ribs every time he connected with it. His ability to sell that always was really awesome. But then also you've got the lowdown. Technically, that's a frog splash. D'Lo Brown makes another resurgence here on this show.
D'Lo just dominating this episode.
I mean, I'm just saying the lowdown, right? You know,
take a shot when you hear D'Lo.
And then you have Eddie Guerrero doing his frog splash as well. So, like I said, it just depends as to who the performer is with that one. There it is again, right? The lowdown. People weren't ready for that. But that's my rationale. I like the level of difficulty, and then also just how it looks too, because it's something that is very starstruck.
Angel, you said you like this one. Go ahead. What do you want?
Just real quick, the shooting star press is the hardest one to do, but I think that's why we don't get to see it often, and unfortunately, it's never gotten its flowers for being a finisher or like a really cool move. I guess it's cool because it's rare to see, but at the same time, it's not as iconic as like a swanton bomb, right? Like off of a ladder. Has anyone done the shooting star press off a ladder? Like,
you probably kill yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure they have, but probably ECW or something or some other company, but
probably AEW did it last week. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, probably. So you said swanton, which kind of was specific to Jeff, because this move's technically called a senton, isn't it? Like because
the Hardy Boys senton bomb.
Senton bomb.
So if you would have said like a 5, like Gonzo said, because the 5-star is different than the frog splash, and the swanton's different than a senton, technically. But in general, the swanton's just more iconic of a move. It's been used more as a finisher, and shooting star it just doesn't get to be used often. And then the frog splash, everyone uses it, so it just really depends. But I just think the swanton's the most iconic. I'd push the swanton. I'd probably bury the frog splash, and I'd fire the shooting star, not because it's not a great move, just it's harder to use, and it's just not seen that often. So,
okay, Gonzo, Angel's last push verifier of the night.
Oh shoot, go ahead.
No problem. We're gonna do returns, wrestlers returns. So this one will be rather interesting. So we're gonna have the American Badass Undertaker returning to Raw is War in the year 2000. If you can remember the stakes to that, where he wipes out at least 10 people.
10 people? Hell yeah.
Yep,
he tells Vince McMahon he's paying him a bunch of zeros.
And there's a countdown. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a countdown to the match itself, and he comes out to help The Rock. Or you
Wow, yeah.
have
Holy smokes, I forgot about that. That's a long time ago. Go ahead.
or you have
For
John
me.
Cena's Royal Rumble return in 2008 at number 30 after returning 3 months early. The last one then would be Brock Lesnar's return to the WWE in 2012 on the night of Raw, where he F5s John Cena. And in shocking fashion, the entire WWE universe is in an uproar on that return.
So you like bringing up sexual assault accusations? Okay.
I mean,
They're-
he's back on the WWE page. No one cares
Exactly.
anymore about it.
If he's
we
on the
can talk
page,
about
it's
him.
good to go.
He's on the
Yeah.
page. We can talk about him again.
All right. I'm going to bury Brock Lesnar because I don't want anything to do with him right now. I don't care if he's on the page. But that was a cool moment in wrestling. But I'm going to bury Brock. I'm just going to stay away from him. For the other two, I mean, I guess you got to push that Undertaker moment. That was just
100%.
crazy, though, comeback.
With Limp Bizkit as the music.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit music, American Badass.
Everyone's
That
created
brings
wrestler
on-
music.
Right, always. This is an icon. It was all of our creative players' music. Riding the motorcycle after that, the bandana. You know, we always love the Dead Man Walking Undertaker, which eventually comes back at some point. But during that Badass era, he had the title a lot during that era, didn't he? Carry the title a couple times during the Badass era. I'm pretty sure he did.
That was the Teddy Long era where everyone was going one-on-one with the Undertaker.
With the Undertaker.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if he had the title a lot. I think he had long reigns for that time period.
Yeah.
He had long reigns for that time period because I don't think now I'm gonna fact check. Keep talking.
No, you're good. I don't remember the Taker having the title often, but I remember as the Badass him having the title. And Cena, I'm gonna bury. That was a cool moment. Number 30, the music hits.
They were in Madison Square Garden for that one too.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a great moment. But I think Taker's comeback was just a bigger deal in the whole company. As not to say that Cena wouldn't be, but just the way it happened, the change of character, and how it changed the entire rest of time for WWE. That was just a crazy moment.
Yeah, I agree with his push bear fire. I'm not even gonna harp on that whatsoever. I don't want anything to do with Brock Lesnar, even though it was on John Cena, who I hate John Cena, but fuck Brock Lesnar. Just fact check: Undertaker, surprisingly, guys, is only a 7-time champion.
Yeah, he's not a champ a lot for sure because he didn't need the belt. He
didn't need the belt,
putting people over.
But his champions were always like longevity as well. So
yeah.
All right, so real quick, apparently I have a request for just me, so you guys are just gonna watch it. This one, it says this one's for Marc only.
That's
you guys
fine.
can.
We'll
you
be
guys
the
can go
JD
into
McDonoughs of the group right now.
I'm good.
Push,
Yeah, I'll be a jobber. I'm good.
It says Push Berry Fire, Chris Jericho tag teams, Jerry Show, the Un-Americans, and Jericho and KO. I am going to fire without question Jerry Show. No one gives a shit.
What's Jerry Show?
Jericho and Big Show.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
This one's a little tough though because I do love the Un-Americans. I thought that was very underrated. But as far as like storyline and comedic relief and just the chemistry, I'm gonna push Jericho and KO. That was the List of Jericho era, the best friend gimmick that they have. I thought that was absolutely hysterical, and I'm gonna bury the Un-Americans just because they were good. I don't think I would put them over Jericho and KO. So, but once again, Riverdog, thank you for that. That one's pretty cool. Cena, Don't You Mean Ricky Stanicky? Great movie. If you guys have never seen John Cena's horrible acting, go watch that movie. And you just made the list. Agreed. All right, so moving. Oh yeah, fuck, damn it, David. You just made the list. Yep, there you go. All right, so moving on, we're gonna do just a little bit of NXT, not a lot. I felt like this week's episode of NXT wasn't too amazing. I'm not going to harp on it too much. But the big story right now is the world title picture in NXT. The family and Ilya Dragunov, I thought, had a fantastic pre-recorded promo video, whatever you want to call it.
A vignette.
A vignette. There you go. So the Don explains, number one, during his dinner, when he officially adds Crucifino to the family. I want to point out, he asked Crucifino if he did that thing, meaning that might be something that we will learn. So Crucifino is his consigliere, and he basically gets things done for, the mob boss, which is the Don. So I want you guys to pay attention to that. The Hitman. Maybe something happens in the future. So that I thought that was pretty cool. But the Don explains about how his plan happened came about last week against Carmelo Hayes, with Trick Williams' return. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then he takes him for a ride, like a freaking boss that he is, showing
In a Hyundai.
in a Hyundai, a badass
Gonzo can't let it go.
in a badass
Can't let it
Hyundai.
go.
But what do you guys think of that promo, and what do you guys think so far of this feud that's going on, that's building for the title match at Stand and Deliver? Gonzo, since you hate the Hyundai, we'll start with you first.
They could have given him something other than a Hyundai. Because again, I think of Joe Pesci, I think of Robert De Niro, right, and all these badass cars, and they give him a Hyundai.
We're
Outside
also
of
in
that,
2024.
so again, what else would you have given him? Are they really buying into then I'm on the NXT budget right now and I don't make a lot of money, so therefore this is all we had on the
Pull out
lot?
the caddy. Yeah, couldn't pull out the caddy.
Something, but outside of that, it was actually rather refreshing, to be truthful with you, right? You know, because like Angel was saying, he likes story, he likes things that are being told, and so as far as Dragunov now going into a world potentially of the underground in order to now come out on top, is he going to get whacked? Is he not? You also found information that the Trick music was something that the Don actually talked with Trick about, that was actually going to be played out in that match. So the Don's character continues to rise, and he's making himself feel more well known. So as far as Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, there's a lot of, again, drawing.
Calm down. There's only one Kingpin in this.
Trigger content.
Relax.
So no, I thoroughly enjoyed it outside of the Hyundai. So
Angel?
No, it was a cool promo. Like Gonzo said, that's my bread and butter. I feel like especially nowadays, right? Like back in the day, it was a big deal if you were a Chris.
Go ahead, you can say it.
Kurt Angle. If you're a Kurt Angle,
or he who shall not
wrestler,
be named.
Right. Anyways, but if you were a technical wrestler, you didn't need to have mic skills per se. And nowadays, the training has become so much better. You need to have both because everyone's wrestling at a pretty decent rate. Like you don't see a lot of wrestlers that aren't doing, the basics at minimum or more in the ring, right? Most of the time, unless they're doing some crazy tricks and stuff like that. Sometimes they get some botches here and there, but you know what I mean? So when it comes to how you separate yourself now, especially if you're someone in NXT, you got to develop these stories, right? And I don't know how it works anymore in WWE. I know back in the day, Vince had a lot to do with what you were, what your story was going to be, who your character was, who you're going to rival against, so on and so forth. But nowadays, it seems like they have more freedom, a little bit, of who they can become and what story they're trying to run. And this family story is something that's never really been done before, right? Which is kind of crazy to think about because it's such a simple idea. But I mean, at least in WWE, maybe it's happened somewhere else. But here in NXT, it's really good. And I think the family is that promo itself with Dragunov, really cool, kind of funny. The whole vibes, like it's Robert De Niro and like Goodfellas vibes. But it was a good promo, and I think the family is going to be getting pushed pretty well now coming to the future of NXT.
Agreed. He needs to. He's a star. Tony D'Angelo's a freaking star.
Yeah, Tony D leading it, of course. Sorry,
yeah,
I mentioned his
Tony D's a freaking star. Channing Stacks, Lorenzo. I mean, everyone plays their characters very, very well. I hope he beats Ilya Dragunov at Stand and Deliver. I think it's time for Tony D to be, in the main event picture of NXT to see what he could really do. So I thought that was really awesome. So if nothing else, we're gonna move to Trick Williams. He is finally back. He explains that he's hungry and he hated being in the shadow of Carmelo Hayes, but he was happy for him because they were boys. So now he wants to know what's going on. Why would Carmelo do this to him? So we're definitely going to get them at Stand and Deliver. So what do you guys think as far as what's going to happen between the two? How do we get there? Obviously, that's the match we're going to get. It has not been announced yet. And as David's, arguments, the longer we wait, what kind of story are we going to get? Or has their feud been so long that we really don't need promos leading up to it because we are 2 weeks away from Stand and Deliver? Gonzo, I'll let you take it.
More tongue action from Lash Legend clearly is what this world needs.
Yeah, apparently Trick makes out with Lash Legend. We got Noam Dar and him fighting next week. But once again, what's going on with Carmelo and Trick? That's the story here. So how does that lead up to it? I mean, Carmelo keeps, avoiding him at all costs. What's going on here? How do we set up this feud? What do we do?
The feud's been set. Now it's just
Mhm.
all nicely going into motion. You're seeing a little bit more edgier side of Val Trick Williams at this moment, since he likes tonguing people left and right. So all of a sudden, he's starting to really play into.
I thought that was so random. Like
That
was
went
like, what?
viral. I saw that. I
Like-
saw that clip a lot this week. That kiss.
I have not seen that type of, again, just I don't know what that was. That's why I said Val Venus.
Val.
I don't know what that was. I wonder if they're dating in real life or something. Like I have no idea. That literally for me,
Like I said,
just
they're
came out of
trying to separate
nowhere.
themselves. This is how you
Like,
separate yourself. You build this persona, and this
This is
might
a
be
little
where he's
bit more
going
of an
with-
edgier trick,
Yeah.
right? So
So
again,
is
to
he
me,
gonna whoop
that's
that
new.
trick? Is he gonna whoop that trick Last Legend or something? Like what's going on?
Hey, I mean, I think ultimately we're starting to see a little bit of a different, difference in character at this point in time. So,
Right.
but again, this has been a year in the making now, as far as
sure.
the storytelling goes, and it's
Yeah,
just
they
more
couldn't
of
go-
just getting now to 2 weeks to stand and deliver. So honestly, there doesn't need to be too much because it's already happened. Carmelo's already lost his mind and concertoed him to where he almost ended his career. So
Right.
Agreed.
No,
Angel,
I-
you have anything you want to add?
No, I agree with all that. Yeah, it's pretty much set ready to go. I mean, they're serving it up. They just got to hit it out of the park now and finish it out and stand and deliver. Hopefully, they can make it fun and more interesting. And having, I don't mind these changes in characters or these weird little segues into.
It was just so random to me.
they
Just
go.
to
Yeah.
fucking this lip
It-
lock.
it
with
was
Lash. I
random,
like,
but-
what?
Yeah, it was random, and in the moment, you didn't know what was happening, but I thought it's a cool idea. Let's see what he can do with that. I'm
Alright.
interested.
All right. So Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis had a joint announcement this week where the Judgment Day will defend against 5 other teams in a 6-pack ladder match at WrestleMania. Qualifiers are to happen on Raw and SmackDown in the coming weeks. So far, we got Legado del Fantasma and New Catch Republic in that match. So we have 3 more teams to be announced later on. We kind of already got David's thoughts on it, but let's ask him anyway. So what do you think of this
Finish it out,
6-pack ladder match at WrestleMania? Go ahead and finish your thought, and then we'll get Angel on it.
again, I like ladder matches. I like TLC matches. We're going to see a bunch of these awesome spots. You're going to have a good combination of teams in there. It's just the timing of it. It's like, oh, we're just going to throw this ridiculous match together and we're going to have awesome things happen. Okay. I mean, I'm positive-ish, but that goes to Mark. What you've been talking about is they're not pushing teams effectively. And so here's a pot and we're just going to throw everything in here. Let's
But
see what
isn't this a
happens.
way how you push a team effectively? Whoever wins that 6-pack match is going to be the new leader. You're already having.
I think what's happening with me is that I'm so spoiled with like the Bloodline telling stories right now, and I've got Trick Williams telling stories. I have like all of these other moments where they're telling stories. We've got Nia Jax, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier too. It's just I wanted something a little bit more of a story with the tag titles. Is all.
Every WrestleMania has a thrown together match. I mean, you're going to have matches. I mean, this is not necessarily. This is for the title.
That's why I said they're spoiling me.
Giving me a ladder match and having qualifiers to go into that ladder match is story for me. I mean, you already have stories within those stories. For example, the LW and Legado del Fantasma, which is kind of weird. I want to touch on that real quick because NXT is having their own tag team tournament, and the LWO was in both the main event, main roster tournament, and the NXT tag tournament. Which
They should have won both.
So
They should have won both.
I agree, but Legado's getting pushed right now. So, but yeah, so I mean, you have stories within those stories when you have these tag teams qualifying, which is why they're doing that. So I'm not totally against it. I do 100% get your point. I'm not saying your point is wrong. So you're not gonna have full on 100% full throttle on every single match that's gonna happen at WrestleMania. Same thing with the AJ Styles match. I mean, his is seemingly just getting thrown together with LA Knight too. I mean, he attacked him in Elimination Chamber, and AJ Styles hasn't been on the show until this past week, and all of a sudden you hit him with chair stuff. Like, yeah, I accept. Not much.
But we were seeing that unfold
because they're buried. Because they're buried.
Because they're buried. Exactly. Same thing with your boy Logan Paul, who is in the limelight. And it's like they just got the triple threat match just got thrown together right now. And Logan Paul is one of their biggest stars. You know, you're always going to have matches that are thrown together. It's not bad. It just makes sense of who you're going to do. If you're going to do a ladder match, you don't really need a major story. Now, would it be better to have a major story? Like, for example, those TLC matches with, you know, the Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian? 1,000,000%. But you're not always going to get those matches. Remember that ladder match?
Not everything's going to be added to their
yeah. Like, remember that
booking from top to bottom is just on fire. That's very rare.
Remember quite a few WrestleManias ago when they put an Intercontinental Championship match for the Intercontinental title, and your boy Zack Ryder went out of nowhere and lost on Raw the next day?
Woo.
That was a thrown together match too, but everyone went freaking crazy, especially when he won. You know, it's I'm not totally against it, but I get where you're coming from. Angel, what do you think of this 6-pack ladder match?
So I don't want to go into it too long because we still got the Bloodline to talk about, and that's going to take forever. I think they're stuck in a place where they don't have a lot of choices. I like this idea because what else are you going to do? At this point, the tag titles are just in a lull. I don't know what how else to solve this problem.
Grace. It's a fall from grace.
It is. And
it might not be. And it might not be a fall from grace if we get, you know, the Miz and your boy Rated R-Truth in that match. If Rated R-Truth in that match, there's your story right there. Degeneration X. You know what I mean? Like, you know. But yeah, go on, Angel.
Right. No, I like that they did it this way because there's not really any team that's above the others, right? So what are you going to do? You don't have one team that's better than the rest right now. There really isn't any. There's none. Who's better than the rest? R-Truth, they just got put together. Or Awesome Truth, excuse me. They just got put together. So I know they've been around forever together, but they just got re-put back together. Mm-hmm. There's no team that has risen to the top from these groups. You know, they've had a lot of matches, but this is the only way to really do it. So whoever comes out of it, cool. We'll see them at WrestleMania. Or whoever wins out of these qualifying matches, we will see them in the match with the champs at WrestleMania in the ladder match. So
yeah, I agree. All right, before we move on, tag division has been sad since the Usos. Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. I love the tag titles. My favorite division, but yeah.
Yep. All right. So the Bloodline, once again, headlines the show and probably will up until after WrestleMania. So we shall see these losers. So we shall see what happens, but a lot going on. So let me quickly recap just a little what we got this week, and then we'll get on thoughts of everybody. So we had the Cody Rhodes promo sit down with Michael Cole. Goat explains why he slapped The Rock, says it was a receipt. He was keeping receipts on everything. Cole even asked why he accepted the match and why Seth is involved so much. He states that Seth could have his own agendas, but he thinks people could change. I thought that was really good because of the battles that they had. And now he's coming into his corner because they have a common shared goal. So I know Angel referenced earlier that maybe, you know, if they lose, the Seths truly help. I think he still does because they still have that common goal. And right now it's all about taking down the Bloodline, right? Explain what the story truly is, and I thought that was really cool. So Gonzo, we'll start there. So basically he says his story is not just for him, but it's for everyone. He says that they are now in the last inning, that this will be the last that we're going to get. He also says that this is for everyone that never got a chance, everyone that had to stood up against the odds. It's not just about Cody, it's for his fans, family. I thought that was really powerful. And tells Coles that he gets to say that he's at WrestleMania 40 that Cody finally finished the story. So is Cody finishing the story?
According to the 2K data gathering, they have gathered information on whether or not to finish the story or to acknowledge the tribal chief. And I think it's like 2-point-something million. Right now, it is, I think 1.1 million is finishing the story, and the other 1 million is going to acknowledge the tribal chief. This is like a vote? This is the statistical evidence that is being put out there by the 2K universe as of right now.
It's like playing matchups. You know, remember how they'll let the simulations.
Oh, simulations. You're talking about simulations.
Yeah. No, people actually picking certain.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought you were talking about simulations. I'm so confused
no.
what you're talking about right now.
So
yeah, what are you talking about? Explain it. Sorry.
In the game itself, you can, decide as to what you're going to do. So they track playable characters because again, people go online.
Oh, he's
they
talking about
do-
like my universe, and you could basically put in the game you control all the outcome. You control who plays, what feuds you do, whatever. And
Who
that's what
wins?
David's saying.
Do you
And
control
Yeah,
who
yeah,
wins?
yeah.
Or...
You
Yeah.
can. You
Yep.
can. So in the My Universe mode or My GM mode, you could book who you want to book against. You could play who you want
Right.
to play against, or you could just simulate it. So a lot of people play it out and be like, no, Cody's going to be the one finishing the story as opposed to Roman Reigns being.
Okay, so it's kind of like voting then.
It's kind of like voting, but it's also almost a simulation, but people play it out. So what Dan was talking about is like the most playable characters right now, that people are using, and that's who they're using.
Right, and their stats are similar. Okay, I got you now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, but that's how close it is, according to the 2K statistics, is that 1.1 million is finishing the story, and then the 1 other million is going to acknowledge the tribal chief to retain the title. So, I mean, the fact that Cody again is saying that this is more than just for me, it's for those that are in a position of fill in the blank, right? There's more meaning to it. There's relevancy to it. It's relatable, blue collar. I'm all for it. It's a wonderful spot that he had the opportunity to make more mention of that, right? To add more to the building blocks that's already going on. So, like I said, this is all fantastic as it continues to still build.
Angel?
Yeah, Cody, if we're talking about Cody's who this is for, Michelle Rubio, his mom, can't give the belt to his dad anymore. He's basically his babyface side of it. He does have his story. We've kind of known where this was going. He's brought in a little bit more heart to it now as we're getting closer. And then Rock has called out his family here and there, so that's where Cody's going with it, trying to just make it more about not talking crap about the other guys. He's going to more uplift his story and what he's trying to do, and that's pretty much where he wants it to be, as Cody Rhodes in his story, and he's the face. So
he's making it more than just himself. That's the whole thing, because the Rock's been painting him.
So I seen something online, basically how they're billing Cody Rhodes versus Roman is basically giving Cody Rhodes the Rocky build of the struggles of trying to get to the top and doing it for everyone and coming from nothing and basically being written off, and that's what the story that they're doing with Cody, and even how they're gonna make it look in that main event of overcoming more odds. Possibly I think the Bloodline goes over Cody and Seth. I think we do get Bloodline rules, just so we can have the Avengers Assemble and all that stuff and all the things, all those the last bunch of hurdles of obstacles for Cody. And that's what we're all building to. And that all goes into his story of the constant obstacles that he has had to go through in his quest for his championship upon his return to the WWE. So
I think if you bring up the match, if you bring up the WrestleMania matches, both of them right now, I see it as like a lumberjack situation for night 2, no matter what happens night 1. Like, you're gonna see.
I almost would just like that, to be honest.
Yeah,
like that probably would just be better.
Like, I don't like, rather they call it that or whatever, they're still gonna call it, Bloodline rules or whatever.
Damn, I forgot about
gonna have a bunch of guys.
Match.
You're gonna have everybody outside the ring, and it's gonna be like, well, nobody can interfere because there's too many guys here. So we're just gonna let them play it out and see how they win.
I love that. Yo, 2K, if you're watching, add Lumberjack to WWE 2. Totally forgot about that match.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that because you brought up the match stuff.
No, I love that. That's good. All right, so Jey Uso cut out a promo, calls out his brother Jimmy, officially challenges Jimmy to the WrestleMania match. Came out on Raw, explained that he wanted a fresh start, but yet the Bloodline won't let him go. And then on SmackDown, we had Jimmy Uso finally officially accept the challenge. So we are getting brother versus brother at WrestleMania. Thoughts on this? Does Jey Uso finish his story against the Bloodline?
Fun fact, according to 2K, WWE 2K, Jey is the 3rd most played superstar currently in the game.
Is this guy just out here looking at 2K simulations always?
This guy is
what's going on?
The data.
I'm just letting you know.
Buy the damn game, bro. Just go buy the damn game.
But that's again the popularity of Jey Uso right now. He's so white hot that he again is the 3rd most playable character at this moment. Shockingly enough, Randy Orton is number 5. So you've got Seth Rollins that's on that list, and of course you've got Cody and you've got Roman Reigns. Those are the top 5 superstars. So for Jey to have this moment versus his brother, this is actually going to be rather intriguing, to be truthful with you. So
who goes over on a brother versus brother match? I mean, obviously the obvious answer would be Jey Uso, right? I feel like we're all in agreement on that one. We don't need to spend too much time on that. But like, how
if
do you
it's night
legitimately
one,
put that? Yeah.
if it's night one, Jimmy goes over because there's interference of bloodline interference.
That's what I was gonna say. This is gonna spill into the rest of the Bloodline versus Cody story. Like, yeah, these two are gonna have their match. It's either gonna get interfered and DQ'd, or this is gonna start the whole vibe and fire of the next matches that are upcoming. Like Gonzo was about to.
I think I agree with that. But as far as the brother versus brother, do you think this is a one-off, or do you think this kind of starts, even though they've been feuding since he's left the Bloodline and went to Raw? Do you think this is the start of maybe like a trilogy between brother versus brother? Like, how do you book this?
Real quick, I'll let Gonzo talk, but I just want to say I don't think so at all. I think you have to play this story like this for now. Okay, it just makes sense. He just left. He just went to Raw. You know, he's been disassociated from them. He makes little jokes here and there, but he barely talks about the Bloodline until recently because he's being screwed by them. But it makes sense that Jimmy keeps doing this because he betrayed them. He went against them. He's teaming up with guys that are against them. He's basically saying you're a traitor. So it makes sense that the Bloodline, Jimmy in this case, does what he's doing right now because that's just what the story makes sense to. So that's it. But I think after this, it's done. Go ahead, Gonzo. Okay. Sorry, man.
I don't see this turning into like a dynasty here where you're going to be coming back and back and back. A one-off, maybe in the future, because with what is going to happen at WrestleMania, it's going to create a shockwave, and it's going to give you the next amount of storytelling as to what happens to Roman, what happens with the head of the table. So how big of a play is Jimmy and Jay really going to be when it comes to that, as them being the vocal point of having matches? I just don't see it for right now. The one of at WrestleMania, there's a lot of significance behind it because it then ties again Jay into the Avengers Assemble, as we continue to joke about. So I see it more as a one-off for right now. Maybe in the future there's another match, but at least for right now, for the next several months, I only see maybe one match.
Okay, cool. All right, lastly, let's talk about The Rock. David, I'm sure you watched his ridiculous promo. So he gives us yet another social media promo. I believe it's about 9 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, they keep getting shorter and shorter. So
because there's more nonsense from week after week. But I did not watch this promo, so I don't think Angel did either. So we're gonna let David
break down the one. No, I saw
break down. We're gonna let David break down the promo very quickly, and then we'll go into what happened on SmackDown with him.
The Spark Notes version is that it's several hours before SmackDown. That's what he's been doing here of lately. This one, he felt more in his natural environment, right? You know, he's in his gym, and he specifically is talking about Cody Rhodes as to why he's crying on national television, specifically highlighting Raw. And then he says, this is what you do when you get your moment to be a man. And then he ties in talking about how Mama Rhodes is going to be witnessing her baby boy getting bludgeoned to death, and he whips out his lifting belt. As we know, Cody Rhodes wears the lifting belt. He's very noticed for that. And so ultimately The Rock starts beating himself with the belt, and he says, well, Mama Rhodes, this is ultimately what you're going to see. You're going to have blood, you're going to have sweat, and I again hope that you're going to be sitting front row so that way I can give it to you. Fast forward when
so we did the exact same thing on SmackDown is what you're telling me, so we didn't miss anything.
From, again, that short clip, no, there's nothing really that's outside of the ordinary. Outside of, there's no bleeping of him actually swearing. So you get to enjoy the uncensored version.
Which apparently, yeah, which apparently he's getting some heat for, but we're not going to get into that.
He's The Rock. Yeah. He's a board member. Board member Johnson.
All right, so basically, if you did not watch the 8-minute promo because you're just tired of The Rock doing his ridiculous promos on social media, you didn't miss anything because he did the exact same thing on SmackDown. So speaking of The Rock, he is on fire right now. I believe the whole Bloodline, Rock, Cody, Seth situation, it started off horribly with him taking Cody's spotlight, but they've really spun it into something great. You could say whatever you guys want to say, but I'm 100% invested in this story. I think the storyline has been amazing, especially with them backpedaling, and I truly believe they did backpedal. I truly believe that they were going to take Cody's spot. and The Rock was like, "Oh shit," and then they changed it. So with that being said, The Rock is firing on all cylinders. He has a new entrance. He's got this electricity, getting Super
Super
Saiyan.
Saiyan 2.
So coming in, Super Saiyan 2 Rocky, and then we get the Hollywood Rock theme has returned, and he pulls out, comes into the ring, and he has sang before, but now he's got a damn band with harmonicas and shit. And
well, he said he's home. He's in Memphis. So
he says he's home in Memphis, and he's got a band with a harmonica, and he sings a song. And basically, what he just said about Cody in his 8-minute promo, he sings a song about that, but also referencing Seth getting his title back. He got a little bit of cheap heat referencing John Morant and his guns.
I was gonna say Ja got a stray, dude. That was
so messed up. He got some cheap heat, but he got me in an oh my fucking god moment. I was like, he did not. Like, do you get approval for that? You're just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, that's nuts to me.
A picture on the fucking board too.
But I thought the song was absolutely hysterical. I thought that was classic Rock. What did you guys think of that? If you guys really want to go into it at all, Gonzo, I know you love the classic Rock music.
Oh yeah, the Hollywood Rock, absolutely. Yeah. I actually rewound that. I was channeling my inner Leonardo DiCaprio, that famous meme where he's like pointing at the TV. So that actually made me feel like I was going back in time. The song, amazing. And again, I'm not going to sit here and we're going to spend 36 minutes talking about this, but
we're not.
The Rock actually only, I think, took up 11 minutes of TV time, believe it or not. So his whole segment actually was rather quick and to the point. The songs were great. The John Morant spot, loved it.
Yeah, because you also didn't have 3 hours of Bloodline walking in for taking out the TV time too. He's by himself.
No, absolutely not. So, I mean, like, the song was great. He then goes into, like I said, when I was talking about his Instagram post of him talking about to Mama Road. So you had silliness where everyone loved him. Everyone's getting chants to where then he takes it, he crosses the line, and that's where you see Hollywood Rock come out, right? So he did a wonderful job of a balancing act. Yes, we're going to acknowledge the home crowd. We're going to pay homage to it, but then we're going to start shifting it into why you don't like me. We're going to start shifting it into causing issues. And he did it masterfully, to be truthful with you. So it was great.
Angel?
There's parts of it that I liked. He felt more like old Rocky that was more natural in the ring.
And he didn't repeat himself like 8,000 times.
He repeated himself a little bit, but it's not as bad.
Unless you watch this promo 30 minutes prior.
Right. But, you guys explain all the stuff you liked about it. So pretty much the same bit. The jaw thing was funny. The stuff about his mom or whatever, he's going to hand her the belt. That was interesting because now we got 2 scenarios we can envision, which I liked. You could see Cody giving his mom the belt, or you could see Rocky giving Cody's mom, Michelle Rubio, his weightlifting belt. Both could happen now in our minds. I like the way they're painting that picture for us to see what the final's going to be. I like that. It's a cool way of promoting the fight, or the match, excuse me. The things I did not like. 2 things. And the second one I'll give to Marc because I think he's going to talk about it. The first thing I do not like about this stuff, though, I don't understand why Roman is such a backseat driver. Or no, I'm sorry. He's in the back seat. He's not driving at all. The Rock is driving. I don't understand why Roman just doesn't get involved with any type of promo. He's now been surpassed by The Rock in appearances in 2024 already. And why Roman is not involved with promoting, pushing. I get that that's his character. He's like apathetic now of who he's going against. Everyone's below him and, he's above everyone. And he's this like CEO type vibe of like, I don't need to talk to anybody. Get away from me. Talk to my advisor. No one comes to me. He shows up, he leaves. I get that that's his character now. And that's his gimmick. But I just don't like that Roman just doesn't exist in this. And why Rock is the one talking every week. Why he's the one getting slapped and slapping Cody. Like, is this Cody versus Roman or is this Cody versus Rock? Because that's what it feels like now at this point. I don't like it. So that's my opinion. I
love the fact that you said that because I 1 cajillion billion % agree. But go on.
Right. Yeah. No, that was pretty much it. I don't understand it. I think Roman can be part of this stuff. I think he has the ability to do it. I've heard him talk before, and he can do it. He can be part of it. They could be, taking turns, but he's pretty much not doing anything lately. I don't like it. Seth has said more than him. Cody said more than him. Rocky said more than him. Uso said more than him. I mean, it's, to me, that's the part I don't like. And the second part, which I'll throw to you, Mark, I don't like that he calls himself the final boss. Go ahead.
So, for those of you that get out of the WWE and you guys watch New Japan, AEW, TNA, whatever the case may be, he stole the final boss gimmick or name, whatever you want to call it, which The Rock does not need, from Kazuchika Okada. Don't understand why he did it. The Rock doesn't need to do it. The Rock has been iconic for years. He's so over no matter every time he comes out. He doesn't need anything that's new. To dub himself the final boss, I think is kind of crazy to me. There have been rumors where I guess Kazuchika Okada was as good as signed with WWE. Like I said, this is just speculation. But I guess he did what I call a DeAndre Jordan type situation where he committed to WWE but never signed the contract, and then he went to AEW, and he must have rubbed WWE the wrong way. So maybe that's kind of a motive as to why The Rock did it. I don't know. I'm just putting in my own spiel in here. But the fact that he's dubbing himself the final boss when Kazuchika Okada has been dubbed the John Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling, that's how big of a guy that he is. I think that's kind of messed up. So that's all I wanted to say on the matter. The promo, I really enjoyed tonight. I mean, I've been giving The Rock a lot of heat for repeating himself and doing all this nonsense. I thought the music was great. It was more classic Rock, the Rock I want to see. Despite him being, the heel, it was funny moments. The jaw was jaw dropping. I loved it 100%. But I could do without him dubbing himself the final boss. That's kind of
probably a direct shot to Okada, just to again remind a certain someone
who the boss is.
Basically, how small, right? I mean, flexing on him, and maybe we leave it at that, right? Time will tell.
It is what it is.
What do you think, Gonzo, about my Roman concern?
To be truthful with you, it doesn't bother me. So I haven't seen The Rock in a very long time, and to be truthful, I actually enjoy hearing and seeing The Rock like he's been doing, because you have Cody talking, you have Seth talking. And unfortunately, like Roman's character, he can talk, but it's very limited. Like anything that Roman does right now, it's an attraction. It's a privilege to be able to hear him speak. It's a privilege to see him wrestle. So technically speaking, it's not anything that's out of character for him, to be truthful. No, that's how I see it.
I said it was his character for sure. I guess the only out he has, and he's lucky this is the case, this is the same story from last year. So how much more can Roman say that he hasn't already said at this point?
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That's why I said it doesn't really bother me all too much.
That's the only thing that he can get away with this for me right now, because it's the same story from last year. He's already said what he had to say. You lose again, you're done. That's it.
Yeah. He's Apollo Creed right now from Rocky 2. Right. I mean, that's literally what it is.
So I just feel like that he's getting buried a little bit by Rocky, just a little bit right now.
Everyone's getting buried by Rocky.
Right.
Last thing I do want to mention about The Rock. So in his song, he did reference taking Seth's title away again. So for him bringing this up so often, do we see that title going away?
From Rollins, yeah.
Or do you think it's here to stay? And it's like, yeah, he's just going to take it away from Rollins.
That could be like this story 2.0. This can become, if Seth wins on his McIntyre match, they pull off this win against the Bloodline. This could be the second part. This is the revenge tour of the Bloodline. If Rock sticks around, of course, he might go on his hiatus again. But if he sticks around, he takes away Seth's belt because he's pissed off at them. He can't take away Cody's, but he'll take away Seth's. This is the punishment for what they did on Sunday. And we could see the story continue with this type of
don't like
relapse.
That. Yeah. We need McIntyre as champion. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Lastly, we're going to just run through what we call hot tags here. It's our quick little topics here. So on the NXT side, or I'm sorry, not the NXT yet. I want to give this to Angel real quick. So Bayley versus Dakota Kai, they had a match this week that Angel wanted to quickly touch on. We'll let him give them the floor real quick.
Oh, it was a better match than I thought it was going to be. I'm glad Bayley's getting. I'm not even a Bayley guy, and I feel like I'm defending her every week. I don't know why she's buried so bad, and I don't even like her as a wrestler or character that much. But come on, man. Like, she's barely even talked about. Their match was fun, cool. The end, that finisher, the moonsault. She got absolutely destroyed by, was it Neo who hit her in the face with the moonsault? Was it Neo?
That's Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai.
Oh, was Dakota the one that did the moonsault?
Oh no, it was
Io Sky.
Io Sky. Sorry.
Io. Yeah, it was Io. So Io hit her in the face with that moonsault. I'm just making sure she's okay. She got hit pretty damn hard, man.
Yeah, that was definitely. I don't call out botches, but that
one was tough. They held her in the air. You know, they had her by each limb, and she was in the air, and she got hit right in the face.
Yeah. All right. Next up, real quick, Roxanne Perez on NXT is turning full heel. You guys like the heel character?
How old is she?
22.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I like it. I like anti-heroes. I like individuals that just destroy things.
She's kind of getting like a Nia Jax vibe. Like, she never got her rematch, and she's just doing anything she can to get into that Stand and Deliver. So I think it definitely is going to be her versus Valkyria at Stand and Deliver.
I think,
yeah. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, becoming a heel is the fastest way to get pushed a lot of times in these situations. So
I agree. LA Knight versus AJ Styles set for WrestleMania. We kind of touched on that earlier. I think that goes to like David's type storytelling, even though that thing happened at Elimination Chamber. It's going to be kind of rushed together. And Angel says they're buried. Then we get LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I mean, not LA Knight. I'm sorry. Paul versus Owens and Orton. Triple threat. US title.
I can't.
Hate it. Don't care. What do you guys think?
I can't wait for Logan Paul to just lay in the ring for like 30 minutes while the other two just wrestle. So
I like the wrestlers. Just it hasn't. I don't know how with these three dudes this match isn't seen as something like a premier event, like a premier match in this event. But I guess everything else is just so much bigger.
That's what I'm saying. Everything around, dude, is just really overshadowing everything.
The line is a black hole.
Yeah. All right. Lastly, I want to point out that we are definitely in a new era of pro wrestling here, guys, especially in the WWE. So obviously, we don't really care too much about this wrestler, but Shayna Baszler is competing for GCW on April 4th during WrestleMania week. So during WrestleMania week, anyone that has a decent indie promotion is always in WrestleMania City, Philadelphia, doing a whole bunch of promotions, GCW, AEW back in the day before they got their TV deal, ROH, all these other companies that are there, the CMLL, which is like the luchador company, they're all there and everyone competes and you get these kind of forbidden door things, but never WWE. WWE strictly saying their own thing. So Shayna Baszler competing on GCW, which is kind of known for their death matches. What do you guys think of that? I mean, obviously it's Shayna Baszler. She's not doing anything right now. She's not a huge star. I do love Shayna Baszler personally. But what do you guys think about this and the possibility of that forbidden door opening the opposite way as well? How do you guys feel about that?
It's cool. I think it's
a new
WWE.
era. Yep, yeah, it's a new era.
We're not looking at the old OG WWE that we have been seeing since, ever pretty much since before WCW exists, or the insurrection or whatever. Like, yeah, it's different.
It's good for business.
We've never seen it.
Oh, it's good for
not
business.
With this company.
Exactly. Crazy times. All right. Well, once again, that pretty much wraps up episode 8. We want to thank you guys for being here, giving us guys those pushberry fires, being very engaging. Angel, before we go out, why don't you tell everyone where they could find you and what you got going on?
You can find me on Twitch playing different types of video games on PlayStation console, Siege right now. MLB The Show just dropped, playing a lot of MLB The Show. You can find me on Twitch though at @_OK Gaming. My other social medias like TikTok and such as well, same handle. Catch me there and having a good time. So thank you.
Gonzo.
As far as myself, it's going to be the raising_personalities. You can find me there on TikTok and Instagram, most notably. As far as X, or what was formerly known as Twitter, you're going to use my name, David_MA_LCPC. Had to do a little bit differently there. So That's usually where I'm doing a lot of just my postings and my reels, and then of course on YouTube, you're gonna tie it back to the raising personalities. That is the primary is the raising personalities. But yeah, a lot of wrestling content, and so just with again trying to get the word out as to what we're doing, what we're talking about. Definitely getting a lot of love from friends and family, and then also some people in the community. So it's been pretty exciting so far.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys know where to find me, pro_wrestling_kingpin on all social media, mainly wrestling content, wrestling cards, guest starring on podcasts. We got the Jelly Cards podcast coming up pretty soon as we get closer to Wrestlemania. So be on the lookout for that. And as well, make sure you guys follow us on all social media and especially Spotify as well. If you guys do miss the actual live stream, you can go and listen to us talk and yell at each other, of course, on Spotify. With that being said, guys, that was a great show. We appreciate you guys once again watching us and giving us an hour 45 minutes of your time weekly. And we'll see you guys next week around the same time. See you later.